issue a certificate of public convenience with a validity period of 5 years. But this was
so every 5 years, people line up your government agency to apply for.
Yes.
What is your measurement, whether to renew or not to renew a particular?
This new policy was adopted in 2004, wherein we also adopted a new tariff methodology, more or less to ensure that the utility will operate viably by making sure that the tariff would be sufficient to answer for the operating cost of the utility.
And how long does it take you to review the certificates of public convenience?
Normally, it would take between 2 to 3 years.
You're telling me now that it takes you 2 years to renew or disapprove.
Yes.
You got to be joking, no?
Well, unfortunately, that is the reality, Mr. Chairman.
Well, are you aware of the anti-red tape law which I authored, which asks you to issue permits and licenses within a certain prescribed period? I think in your particular case, it's only 90 days, if I'm not mistaken. You're telling me now at this hearing that it takes you 2 years?
The procedure, Mr. Chairman, it's a quasi-judicial process, Mr. Chairman, wherein we have to conduct a hearing. Just like in any quasi-judicial body, we have to receive evidence, position papers, pleadings, and so on. And after that, we have to conduct our own technical evaluation of the water system. So,
and at any given time, I would imagine that you must have 1,000 or 100,000 applications. I'm exaggerating. Exactly how many do you have every year?
Well, if I remember correctly, Mr. We would have something like 200 applications every year.
And it takes you 2 years to decide. What happens when a particular developer applies for a certificate of convenience and there is an ongoing controversy as to the rates, like I think in this particular case? What happens now?
That's where it would normally take longer, Mr. Chairman, because you know, we have protests, you have oppositors that can really drag the process.
You know, I'm sorry to be brutally frank, but I'm completely appalled at the idea that it takes a government agency 2 years to renew or disapprove. Please help me understand, because I can't accept it. That it takes a government agency 2 years to renew or revoke a license. This is just
Mr. Chairman,
monumentally, historically hard to fathom.
Well, that is the reality. Mr. Chairman,
Well,
may I
the
also
reality
give...
is not acceptable to me, you see. Because if it takes you 2 years to renew a license or revoke it, then you must be abolished. Because I will conclude that you're not doing your job. If it takes any developer in this country 2 years to either renew or revoke, we're joking here.
Yes. Well, Mr. Chairman, may I also mention that the budget of the National Water Resources Board is something like 38 million per annum. And
well, I'm just telling you, Attorney Santos, I don't mean to insult you. I'm not insulting, I'm insulting your agency.
Yes.
The 2 years that you're talking about is a complete disaster. And I think your inability to respond to a particular situation like this particular was probably added to the problem.
Yes, Mr.
It's
Chairman.
taking you so long.
We're doing something about that, Mr. Chairman.
By doing something about it, how much time would you be able to reduce a permit to operate by 1 year?
Well, Mr. Chairman, may I explain what we're trying to do here? Because we realize right now that some or most small-scale water service providers does not have to go to the normal process that is detailed in the Public Service Act. So we're adopting a simplified procedure, like for example, a small community servicing, like for example, 500 connections. We're trying to simplify the procedure for these kinds of small water utilities. We're undertaking that. We've already passed guidelines for what we call 900 regulation. 900 regulation for small water service providers. So that's why hopefully if we're able to do this, we can manage the number of applications that come in every year, categorize them, and then determine which applications will have to undergo the process that is detailed under the law.
You can explain and rationalize in the most favorable manner, but the fact remains it takes you 2 years. It's no longer a certificate of convenience, but rather a certificate of inconvenience because a particular developer is asking you to increase or decrease their water rates, and by the time you approve it, which is 2 years after the application, the whole application is probably null and void and irrelevant and unapplicable. Am I correct to say that?
That is correct, Mr. Chairman, but then the applicant would also have the opportunity to ask for a provisional authority. So in that sense, while the main application is being heard, the water utility operator can justify the rates right away and get a provisional authority to
So
charge.
we have a government agency that takes 2 years to approve or disapprove. May I know, MWSS, exactly what is your role here? What is your role? You watch, observe, what else do you do?
Sir, it's our mandate through our concessionaire to provide water. Of course, to implement this PD 1345, but as of now, we are hand-tied because of the restraining order. Kaya po, sir, nagkaroon kami ng...
Mamaya na yung restraining order because that is restraining our discussions. Exactly what is your role? Because we're trying to find a long-term solution for this festering problem. If we have a government agency that takes 2 years to decide, what do you do?
Sir, continue, sir, ang mandate po namin to supply this water and sewerage system.
You supply the water through
Through
Maynilad.
our concession. Yes, sir. Through Maynilad.
You supply the water.
Yes, sir.
They buy from you.
They distribute, sir.
They distribute from you. You now have the resources to channel your distribution. Do we have adequate water supply for BF?
Yes, sir.
If all of them were to operate
Yes, sir. For
in the regular fashion,
Yes, sir.
they will have the power to supply.
Yes, sir.
And on the basis of your monitoring of the job at Maynilad, are we correct to say here that their work is in progress and that they are achieving certain commitments that they have made?
Yes,
There's
sir.
no question about that.
Yes, sir. There's no question.
Mr. Chairman, may I just
Yes, sir.
question?